What is going on, everyone? I am Cucumber, and today we will be discussing an idea I had that might be an interesting twist on how storytelling is handled in Bethesda titles. Hybrid storytelling. Now, this video may sound similar to one of my more previous videos, and you'd be right, but roll with me here. What do I mean by hybrid storytelling? Well, when one takes into account all the various storylines etched in Bethesda games, I had always wondered why there was such a stringent path to follow. Using the Elder Scrolls as examples, why would none of the factions peppered around the province not interact with each other? Every storyline is independent of one another and have no overlap whatsoever. What reasoning might there be to make every questline such a concrete path? Perhaps the idea of wanting everyone to have similar experiences and for no one to be left out might be the cause. Or maybe trying to make all these varying stories interconnect would be a daunting task not worth venturing. But as for me, I believe trying to, at least a little bit, interweave some storylines might be, like I said, an interesting avenue to attempt traversing. I believe the best way to explain what I'm trying to get across is to give a few examples. Drawing from Skyrim, the ideas that got me thinking about this topic were connecting the Civil War story and the Dark Brotherhood questline. My first thought was, what if during the Civil War story, both General Tullius and Ulfric had an assassination attempt on their lives done by the Dark Brotherhood? This got me thinking that after the assassination attempt, you would be assigned in finding the Brotherhood and taking them out. Your orders could then lead you to destroying the Sanctuary or even joining the Brotherhood if you had not already. Even more interestingly, if you had already become an assassin before the Civil War, you could have been the one assigned to kill the leader, or leaders depending on if you had picked a side already. The Dark Brotherhood questline could also be influenced by your choice in the Civil War as well, perhaps at the end whenever you're given the task of killing the Emperor. If you were a Stormcloak, you could have possibly had the option to kill the Emperor guised as a Stormcloaked rebel, as you led an assault on a ship, leaving a note with the mark of the Black Hand on his corpse as you left with your party. It can go the other way around by using your fame within the Imperial Legion, being the one who killed Ulfric's Stormcloak, to be able to waltz onto the ship without duress, kill the Emperor, and try to avoid being seen afterwards, because if you were to be noticed leaving the scene of the crime, you could forever be an enemy of the Legion thereafter. These examples are what I mean when I discuss hybrid storytelling. Being able to use your choices and your influence around the province is something valuable in terms of all the directions Bethesda could go with these storylines. When you think about it, the interconnectedness of these storylines do not even need to be all that complicated or interwoven. The hybridization of these stories could go just as far as I went with my examples. They do not need to have the College of Winterhold, the Thieves Guild, or the Brotherhood be involved in every other questline in the game. But I think attempting to connect storylines that make sense in the narrative would be a welcome change, because not being able to call upon other assets I have gained in my travels in my further adventuring is kind of strange. I like to imagine the hybridization acting not like a web where a bunch of threads tie together in an interwoven set piece. Rather, I visualize it more like a rock skipping on water. There are those couple of instances where the rock taps the water, but for the most part, it is hovering above as it continues forward. Imagine the time the rock is in the air as the storyline you're currently progressing on, while the instances it touches the water as the moments you connect with other storylines. Getting back on the rails, it is also quite confusing when you think about it, why the world around you does not interact with itself. Why would you as the player be involved in every major event that occurs within the game? You know, I would not put it beyond one of the Imperial legates or a desperate Stormcloak soldier to call upon the Brotherhood to try and end the war quicker by having the opposing leader assassinated. Just small things like this can really impact how Bethesda delivers their stories and the effect that they have on not only the player, but the world the player interacts with. Now, what can be some negatives of this type of mechanic or system? If anything, tying stories together as such would push towards what I would consider a good thing, but others may not, the idea that time moves independently of the player. If at one point during the Civil War storyline, the Brotherhood is meant to come into play, that would mean the Dark Brotherhood questline would also need to have been going on at the same time in order to keep up. Now, while I believe having time be an independent factor is a good thing, Bethesda appears to appeal to those who prefer not to miss anything. Also, I have noticed that each of the stories presented in Skyrim, for example, each have a goal to complete. They all want to have a layer of epicness at the end, and in order to get the full picture across, Bethesda fashioned each storyline to reveal most, if not every major detail straight to the player. And if Bethesda were to implement moments where the player would not know exactly what is going on or who did what, those instances left unknown would possibly cause some derision from the player base these recent titles are aimed towards. However, you could also spotlight how Bethesda itself may not want to conceal anything from the players in their games. They may want to have every option open to every player regardless of the choices they have made, because it would not be fair to have a person who is playing, let's say, a full-out mage be blocked from the Brotherhood option during the Civil War quest line. All in all, these are just speculations. I just wanted to attempt playing the devil's advocate in fairness. But other than that, tell me what you think. Would you want a form of hybridization in storytelling, or is the route Bethesda is going the one you prefer? If you have any questions, quarrels, or queries, be sure to let me know. I am Cucumber, and remember, pass the dressing.